Very gracious evening to the chief guest, Ms. Valerie Pinto, our registrar, Professor A.S. Deshpande, registrar evaluation, Professor Satish Anigiri, finance officer, Ms. M.A. Sapna, and galaxy of intellectual speakers, professors, students, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a matter of immense pride to share with you the success of the 3 days international symposium, Aspire with VTU, in association with AFH. I think to improve the golden moment of opportunity and catch the good that is in our reach is the great art of life. And VTU with AFH has given the youth an opportunity to reach out all the mentors across the globe and carve a successful life. We had an overwhelming response from the participants towards the success of the event. May I invite Professor Satish Anigiri, Registrar Evaluation, for his health purpose. Sir, over.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good evening to everybody. It's my pleasant duty to welcome all of you to this validity function. I'm sure that over the last 3 days, all of you have had a wonderful sessions wherein all the ideas that have been thrown out have introduced you with a new enthusiasm to push ahead. I would like to first welcome our chief guest, Ms. Valerie Pinto, CEO, Vivek Shamlik, India. She has graciously consented to be the chief guest today. On behalf of all of us, I extend a very warm welcome to you. I'd like to welcome Professor A.S. Deshpande, President of this function and the registrar of the PM. He is the main backbone behind this particular function that has been conducted over the last 3 days. I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. Without the support of the co-organizers, Ms. Madhura Bhaskar, founder and CEO of SPAR, and the partner at Blackwell, founder and founder Jen Bai, it would have been impossible for us to conduct this web symposium. On behalf of all of us, I extend a very warm welcome to both of you. Madam M.A. Sapna, Finance Officer, VTU, is here with us. I extend a warm welcome to you, madam. There are thousands of participants across the country and the world who are participating in this validity function, as well as there are mentors, faculty who are part of this function. On behalf of all of us, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you. I thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. You have always been a great support for all our events. I welcome you too for our valedictory function. May I request Madhura, CEO of AFH, who has been the greatest pillar in organizing such a magnanimous event. Without your support, Madhura, and your involvement, the importance of this particular event would not be this much. I request you to give an overview of the event. Over to you, Madhura.
Madhura, you're on mute.
Madhura, you're on mute.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Deepti. It's a wonderful moment for me, on behalf of Aspire for Her, to sum up what's been the most glorious last 3 days of our lives. I think it started on a fantastic note with the vision of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Karisigappa, talking about what he felt about the Women's Study Center. Sudha Murthy ma'am's conversation with us was something that I will have with me for the rest of my life. The 5 big takeaways that she talked about, and I have actually written them down so that I have them engraved wherever I go. The first point she made was about playing the woman card and never play it unless it's for safety. She talked about collaboration. She talked about learning continuously. She talked about not wasting our time. And she talked about building our own community. Each of these 5 points have wonderful insights and lessons for all of us, whichever point in life we're in. Of course, we then had Rumi and Hema, 2 sparkling women from IBM who are actually ruling the tech world, talking about cutting edge technology and introducing the students to some of the latest concepts. The finance panel with Jaya, Shunali, and Shamastri demystified a lot of concepts. Shamastri demystified blockchains for us. Shunali talked about the real world behind the glamour of investment banking. And Jaya's passion for process and re-engineering came out in that little fish story I think we will all remember. We then moved to the conversations that we had today. Sorry, I'm forgetting Nija. And Nija's stories about the life skills of what women need, I think would stay with us for a long time. Not only because she made the stories come live with real life examples, but because she actually took us through her own journey in a very beautiful way. That brings us to today's sessions. And I think all of us saw a multicultural team logging in from various different parts of the world. And it was absolutely amazing to hear them talk about marketing, not only from the lens of marketing, but from the lens of a human centered being and a sort of, life's lessons, really. Loved what Stephanie had to say, but unfortunately, she had to move out because of the snowstorm, which is happening in her part of the world right now. Saundari's stories of Jyoti Kumari and everything else that she talked about told us the importance of business storytelling in a world where statistics and data sometimes rule the roost. And Sharda, the concept of vanity metrics and the many, many different ways that you talked about marketing, the marketing function itself really will stay with us for a long time. And I have learned personally a lot. I'm really looking forward to Valerie's address. And I'm hoping that with all of this, the students of VTU, the respected principals, the teachers, and the entire community at VTU will actually remember our main message. We need more women to get to work. That's why the Women's Study Center was set up. And that is the one single word of motivation that we'd really like to leave you with. So whether you're a woman who's watching this, or whether you're a man who wants to support a woman in your life to actually follow an amazing career, please come, be a part of our community, be a part of the Women's Study Center. They are very, very forward thinking. It's absolutely amazing that they have more than 200 colleges who have come in and participated in these 3 days wholeheartedly. I'll just end with something that Saundari said, and that's really, to me, the last bit that I'd like to leave you with. We are at crossroads in our country, and we need to make a change as far as women at work are concerned. If not now, then when? And if not you, then who? The onus is really on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhura, for showing up on the entire 3 days session that we have had. And, summing it up in such a beautiful manner. May I call upon Anusha Adappa, VTU alumni, to introduce the chief guest for today.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good evening to one and all present here. I am Anusha Adappa, and I take immense pride to introduce you to the chief guest for today's function, Miss Valerie Pinto. In Valerie's own words, she says, "You never stop learning. The moment you say, I have finished learning, you are dead." She is one of the youngest CEOs of an Indian network agency. Valerie's efforts have led to shaping communication professionals, which is almost half the talent that exists in Indian PR industry today. As the head of Weber Shandwick India, Valerie works closely with clients across the country to change traditional models of communication towards more integrated offerings with a focus on campaigns, creativity, and content. Under her leadership, the firm has won several awards for iconic campaign at Cannes, PR Week, Mumbrella, Stevie's, and Sabre. Rated as the top 40 under 40 media professionals to watch out for in Asia Pacific by Campaign Asia, she was ranked as the top 10 women in Indian PR by Reputation India and has served as a Cannes jury member twice. Valerie is a nominated member on the board of PATH in India, a not-for-profit organization. And apart from being a guest speaker at various academic institutions, she also mentors students from the Vedika College for Women. Valerie has been recognized as a creative leader at the Campaign 360 Women Leading Change Awards, called out on the Social Samosa Super Women list, and named on the Impact magazine's 50 most influential women in Indian media, marketing, and advertising list. She was also featured on the Reputation Today Most Important 100 People list, Provokes Top 25 Innovators, and has also been a TEDx speaker. In addition, Valerie has been a national level athlete and is an accomplished pastry chef. She says, "Let's change the game. Let's make it fun." It's such a delight and honor to have you here, Valerie. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Anusha, for that very long and flattering sort of introduction. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody at VTU, for having me part of the forum today. I'm truly honored to be here and to talk to all the women or the girls who aspire to really come into the workforce. And thank you, Madhura. I think it's been great to be associated with Aspire for her, and I'm truly proud of the work that she is doing. And I hope I can bring my full self to make sure that this platform and is successful, and we keep encouraging more and more women to come into the workforce and stay connected and stay there, because I think that's very important. We tend to give up a lot of times when things get very tough. And we feel that, oh no, maybe this is not for me, maybe it's a man's world. And maybe we need to take and look at priorities at home. And we feel guilty that we look at priorities at home often. And we consider work to be more important than our personal life. And then that makes us really guilty. But I must tell all of you out there that, it's all in our own minds. And that's what I have started my journey or my career with, breaking those mindsets and believing in yourself truly, and fully, and bringing your full self to whatever work that you do, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's private, or whatever else you may do. Just bring your full self to the table and you will never be unsuccessful. I want to start by, giving you some, of my own little examples, because that's the best way I can, give you some of the insights into how to keep yourself going, and how to keep, like Anusha just said, that's truly my motto. If you stop, the moment you stop learning, you consider yourself dead. Never go ahead of yourself. Never ever think that you have finished and accomplished everything, because you never accomplish anything. You always have an opportunity to learn more and do more and meet more people and go through different experiences and learn from all those experiences that come your way. So when I was really young, my dad passed away when I was 2 years old and 2.5 years old, and I did not really understand what life was, or what was going on around me as well. And my mom, of course, she was very young, 39 years old, and I had an older sister. So she sent me off to the boarding school, and I was there with the nuns, and they expected me to become a nun when I was 2.5, and they started grooming me. You know how they groom you, as a small child, to pray and everything else. But I realized very quickly that I enjoyed, again, when I was there, I enjoyed what I did. I knew all the prayers and everything 100%. But then my mom came back and said, I really want my daughter back. And so she brought me back to Bombay. And again, you change as a child. You move from one place and then you move back home. And you've always lived out of the house, since you're a child. So you don't really understand that whole thing about living together as a family. So again, I started to learn what does that mean. At a very early stage in my life, I had to always keep learning and understanding what the situation is teaching me or what it's expecting out of me, and therefore adapting to how I need to change my ways or do things to really make the most of the situation. And I think that intrinsic quality came to me from a very young age. So when I went to the nuns, I had to make the most of that situation. When I came back, I had to make the most of that situation, and that's how I started, to pursue sport. In fact, that's another very interesting story, that I actually was a national level athlete. I was a state level under 14 heptathlon athlete. And you know how it is when you're in the 9th grade, you then teachers and principals put so much of importance on making sure that you really do your 9th terms as well as your boards, your finals, because then if you go to the 10th and we always want 10% results at that time, right? So from in the terms, I had to run for my state. So I did the state level athletic meet. And when it was the finals, it was the national level athletic meet. And I remember I had to take permission from my principal to run for the nationals. And I suddenly found myself where they said, get the permission from your mother and get your permission from your principal. So my mom was, of course, very young, so she was very confused. Is this the right thing I should be doing for my child? She'll miss. So the principal said she has to miss the whole year. There's no way we can give her a separate exam, because for us, work is more, education, I would say, is more important than going to what is the future of athletics, just make sure that she studies and completes this year. Forget about it. There's nothing that will happen. So she refused to give me permission. My mom went to several people and took advice. And then, of course, I didn't get permission to go to the nationals, and I missed going to the nationals. So I did not run. But, usually you hate the system and you will hate your parents, and you know how your mindset is. But again, like I said, I was taught to adapt, and nobody taught me. It was just the mindset. Okay, you can't do it. Let's find another way of working things out and see how we can make the most again of what I had to do. I did my 10th really well. I got into St. Xavier's College, and again I took out to sports, and I topped again in sports in college as well. I focused on my education. I topped the Bombay University for Economics and Political Science. Again, bringing 100% of yourself to whatever the situation throws back at you. So I think that is something I want to leave with all of you, because that's the foundation of where I have come in my life today. It's like, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the problem that comes your way, learn to look at it with a positive frame, and you'll always find a solution, and you'll always be able to move to the next level progressively, and with a mindset that doesn't make you negative about the world and things around you. And I think if you stay positive, you will always have the mind space to find a solution. So I think that's the foundation of how I got here today. And sometimes when I started working, I was really young, and I became the CEO of this company. It was it was a PR agency, which was Perfect Relations, and I must have been very young. And suddenly this CEO, I said, "Oh my God, now what am I going to do?" Sometimes you think like, "How did you get here?" And I was working so hard all the time, but I did not even realize that now I head a company. And I must tell you that when you start growing from one level to the other, and every phase that you pass in your career, there are different learnings that you need to adopt and imbibe. So when you're an executive, you have to absorb, you have to learn, you have to have patience to go through all the hard work. You have many people who will dump work at you sometimes. You have to have that patience, and you have to say, okay, this is all part of my learning. Very quickly, you find youth who you say, okay, this is not meant for me. I was in college, I was taught all about the strategy, and I'm going to do this great mastermind thinking. And it doesn't happen, people. I mean, when you get to work, you have to roll up your sleeves, and you have to learn the ropes, learn everything, no matter how minute the details are, and never ever give that, and never ever skip that level, because the moment you skip that level, you don't grow roots, you don't know, and people can always fool you later on in your life. But the moment you spend that time at every level, learning and understanding what that level means, it's extremely valuable in your life later on. And you can ask all your seniors in the room as well, if that's not really what has shaped them to who they are today. When you move to managing, so you become from an executive, you become a manager, you have to have that ability to transition from execution to management. And for me, that was a very big task, because I was still in the middle of execution when I was asked to manage. So again, how do you learn that? And it doesn't come by being taught in a school, or it comes with experience, it comes with learning, it comes with making mistakes and never being afraid of making those mistakes. But make sure you don't make them too many times. You have to learn from the mistakes that you make as well, because you say, oh, Val said make mistakes, so I made mistakes. But no, it's about learning and reflecting at every stage in terms of what those experiences have taught you, and what those failures have. Never be afraid to fail. I have failed many times in my life as well. And I used to be, what is this? How can maybe I should just quit. And maybe you reach that point of saying, I can't be this manager, or I can't be this because it's too much. It's getting too much for me. Either I focus on home or focus on work. And then you kind of get all confused. But I think it's, again, important to take a step back, evaluate, understand what you can do differently, because the power of that lies within your hands to do and manage your work and your priorities based on how you put different aspects, of your life in front of you, and what makes sense for you at that point in time. And never think that any decision you make is going to be the wrong one. If you truly believe in it, it's always going to be the right one for you to do. But believe in it and go for it fully if that's what you want to do. So these are some of the learnings that I have faced in my life. And as I became the CEO of the company, which is my previous organization, as well as today's Weber Shandwick, I find that you reach that stage where you have so many experiences, and you have so many people that you have mentored, you have shaped, you have given a sort of direction to. But I think it's always important to even have that aspect to give back in some shape or form, apart from just doing work and coming to work to service a client or hire people or manage a business. And therefore, I spend at least 20% of my time giving back and mentoring all you wonderful women out there to always come. I mean, always remember that you have the power to shape your own career, and you have the power to be who you are with pride and respect. I think, many of us, when I mentor a lot of girls or women, they always are very hesitant about making that step. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe because I'm going to have a baby now, so they will not take me very seriously at work. I get all these sort of, feedback or comments or questions when I do talk to a lot of women who are in the workforce. But my advice to all of you is that don't be afraid. It's biological. It's like it's normal, and it's something that you should be proud of, that you are able to, build a family and focus on personal as well as your private and as well as your professional career. So I think I spend a lot of my time now mentoring you women on how to deal with every sort of challenge that you face at work. And it's not that I haven't faced them. I have faced them. When I was at running the organization, I was one of the only women, right, young women, and around me were these old gray-haired, very experienced older people running very large agencies. And I used to be waiting for this. So we have this pitches, right? You have to go and pitch for new business. So you're waiting outside, and then you have all these very senior people with gray hair going in and coming out, and you get nervous. You said, "Oh my God, what do they think this little child is going to come and say? What are they going to?" But you have to have that believability. You have to do the right research. You have to know that what you're going to say is fully with your heart. Like I said, take 100% to that meeting, and it is to always come back winning those businesses. And that gave you more and more confidence to say, listen, it's not just about gray hair. It's not just about that, men or whatever. It's all in your own mind. You have to build that confidence that you have the power to do it. And you can really make that difference when you walk into that room by being 100% of who you are and giving your work 100%. And no one's going to just say, oh, because you're a woman, come, we are going to give you this job because, you're a woman and we have to have, no, you have to prove yourself. And there's no getting away from the fact that you have to work really hard and prove yourself. You have to know your subject really well. You have to be confident about what you do. You have to ensure that you are so fully aware of all the elements around in the room that you are able to connect with everybody that you are actually making those presentations, and you're making your point across to everyone so they understand what you're saying very well. And it's the same for every man walking into that room as well. So do not have that in your head is because there is a difference between that makes me smaller or larger or less competent. You are as competent as anyone in that room. So that power of confidence is really another thing that I teach a lot of women to have, because they have so many apprehensions sometimes, which is their own apprehensions, I would say, before they enter a meeting or enter a room or enter the world of the workplace. So how do you prepare for it? How do you know and understand yourself and get rise above to make sure that you are taking your full 100% to wherever you go? So that's pretty much I have from my side. And if there's anything I can answer, or is there any questions that anybody would like to ask. I'm happy to, answer them. And once again, I really thank you guys for giving me this platform. And I do hope that all of you out there who are listening to these wonderful sessions over the last 3 years have learned and have grown in your thinking and are inspired and motivated to keep doing more and staying and coming into the workforce, because we need more of you. You are multitaskers. You are the left brain and the right brain. We need everybody, each one of you, to come in and make this place a better place to work and live in. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. It was indeed an enthralling talk. And I'm sure that the youngsters who have received your vital tips on how to adapt at any given situation they are in. So you have definitely set the stage for all the upcoming leaders. May I request the audience and the speakers, in case if you all have 1 or 2 questions for Valerie, we may take it up. We'll wait for 10 seconds, and Valerie, probably the audience questions which are there online, we would definitely post it to you, your email ID, and we would be glad to receive all the answers from your end.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll do that.
Yeah. May I request our registrar, Professor A.S. Deshpande, who despite of his busy schedule readily agreed to preside this function. Sir, I request you to give your presidential remark.
Namaskar and very good evening. Chief guest of today's valedictory function, Ms. Valerie Pinto, the CEO of Weber Canvix India. We also have with us Ms. Madhura Dasgupta Sinha, the founder and CEO of Aspire for Her. Thank you very much for associating with us and giving us this wonderful program. My colleague and friend, Professor Satish Anigari, the Registrar Evaluation, Finance Officer, Ms. Sapna. We also have with us Anusha, of course, Dipti, the delegate, and friends. Indeed, this wonderful program. The day one was fantastic. We did attend the inaugural part, but somehow we were not the part of other sessions which were conducted on day 1, 2, as well as on 3. Sudhamurthy ma'am's inspiring words, of course, has taken the start of the program altogether to a different level. And again, in the valedictory, I could find the wonderful, inspiring talk by Ms. Valerie again has made this, the whole flow of program in a absolutely different way and with a different touch. I could scan through the topics on which, the sessions were done. The new age marketing career was one of the topics which was done, I think, today. And then you had the Discover, the cutting edge technology was a session which was there on day 2. And also the life skills for women, win with careers in finance and fintech. If you see the topics, the areas which have been identified for the symposium are absolutely apt and, something which is required to be communicated to the women. If you see, the empowerment and autonomy for the women is extremely important. And this empowerment and autonomy is required to be, seen in social, economical, as well as all the walks of our life. Of course, education is one of the important means to get this empowerment. But in addition to the education, the knowledge, the skill, and as rightly pointed out by Sudhamurthy ma'am, as well as today, Ms. Valerie also did speak about it, is the confidence. These are probably the wonderful ingredients which could be identified to get the real empowerment for the women. Of course, women, we have seen them in the role of caretaker most of the time. But also we see that, the women have done wonderfully in different assignments. And that primarily, I personally feel, is that, their ability to, perform the multitasking, parallel tasking, thinking differently, as rightly said by Ms. Valerie, using the right brain and the left brain, the logic, the analytics, the data, you make use of everything from left and right brains and come out with the right decision and move forward. I think probably these are, the plus points which really could take women for the real empowerment in the journey. As far as our university is concerned, the Women's Study Center and the Women's Cell has been doing really good. And we have instructed all our affiliated colleges also to be active, as far as these women-centric activities are concerned. The Women's Cell at VTU is closely monitoring the women's cells which have been established at all our affiliated colleges. Even if you scan through our student strength, the percentage of girls opting for engineering has gone up. It's not just the IT or the circuit branches. We see many girls are even opting for the branches like mech engineering, the aeronautical engineering, the civil engineering. The number of girls opting for this generally so-called men-centric branches is growing. And, the performance is really good. So recently I was talking to a couple of the world leaders. I don't want to name the company, but they are one of the world leaders in the auto sector. And this year or maybe last year, they decided to recruit at least 50% of their requirement only with the girls. It's an auto sector, and they were looking for the mech or EC or electrical grad. But they said that the women's performance, their focus, their commitment are really good, and we would have to have them more in the company. And this is something which is happening across all the organizations. Once again, on my personal behalf and on behalf of the university, I must place on record our special thanks to Madhura Das Gupta, the founder and CEO for Aspire for Her. I would like to say that we would aspire for more such programs in the days to come with your association. Of course, our Women's Cell and Women's Study Center will be in touch with you. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share a few words on this topic.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. May I request the finance officer, Ms. M.A. Sapna, who has been very instrumental in organizing this event, to propose the vote of thanks. Ma'am.
The chief guest of today's valedictory, Madam Valerie Pinto, President of today's function, Registrar and Professor A.S. Deshpande, the Registrar Evaluation, Dr. Satish Anigiri. First, I used to always think that Women's Studies Center, which is now being made mandatory for all institutions and colleges. We all know that women are very strong, and we keep talking about that. But I hope that these study centers change the way the world perceives women's strength. And this is my sincere hope. So I'm here to express gratitude for making that happen. So I would like to thank the chief guest of today's function, Madam Valerie Pinto. She gave a very good takeaway that we must always stay positive, and we will always do. We means anyone, it could be a man or a woman, would always achieve as per the mindset. And once you have a very strong mindset, you will have the ability to find a solution. So thank you, ma'am, for your very inspiring words. I'm sure you'll have a lot of people who are inspired by what you have done. Thank you so much. I would like to thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor for having been a mentor and great guide and supporting us throughout this program. I would like to thank the Registrar, Professor Deshpande, for his presidential remarks and talking about the way women have paved way for themselves in the fields that they have achieved so far. I would like to thank Madhura Dasgupta Sinha. Each time I listen to you, madam, I feel so inspired. And as our registrar said, I hope we'll have more ventures with you in future, and you would really help us out in these new study center. And next, I would like to thank Professor Anigiri sir, Registrar Evaluation, for his constant support and guidance in all these programs. The two vital links for these organizations, Sri Ramesh Jungle and Professor Dangi, I express my sincere gratitude for making these things happen. Then Madam Deepthi for coordinating the whole event. I would like to thank all the participants, the delegates, the students, and most important, all the speakers from across India, US, UK, and Singapore and Hong Kong. Thank you, everyone, for making this such a good event. I'm sure that all of us have had a lot of takeaways from this event, and these are not going to be mere takeaways, but which we are going to fully utilize and get inspired from one another. In fact, earlier I told that behind a successful woman, there are a host of other successful women who are always constantly supporting her back. So I sincerely wish that this would happen, and I'm very happy for being a part of this event. Thank you so much. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for your kind words. I must place on record a sincere gratitude to our technical team support led by Somshekhar, and we have Nilesh, Basavraj, Ramesh, photographer, the team, entire team of VTU tech support tech team, and also AOTouch tech team. I must place this on record, and we sincerely thank you for seamless support that you have given to run our entire 3 days program without any technical hitch. Thank you so very much. Over to you, Madhura, if you have to speak some words.
Yeah, I actually wanted to say thank you to some people who are without whom this just definitely wouldn't have been possible. And I know, I think Sapna has in fact included almost all of them. But there are some names which I just wanted to ensure that we do bring them in as well. And topping that list really is you, Deepthi, because I think it was your idea. And seeing that germ of an idea take this beautiful shape, I think it's beyond my imagination and beyond, I think, most of the people who first spoke to you about it. That's absolutely wonderful. Abha Bagroy, no words to thank you.
Yes.
I think
Thank you so
amazing.
much, Abha. Thank you so very much. I should not miss, thanking you for this entire support that you have given for this event. Thank you.
She was the real crucial link, because it was again, she and you spoke about the idea, and then how it sort of translated into reality today is almost like a dream come true for all of us. So thank you, Abha. I think what you have done for Aspire for Her is very, 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 very momentous, and this is actually the new beginning for us. And I can see us doing so much more and growing from here. With VTU, with all the affiliated colleges, the Gender Studies Center, and everything else. I would also like to thank the tech team because I know that they worked very hard to make it very, very seamless. So Somshekhar, Nilesh, Basavaraj, and team, and the moderators. So one of the very important messages that we actually give to Aspire for Her is that we want the young women to run things themselves. We want them to be in front of the camera. We want them to be confident. We want them to be the leaders of tomorrow. And if they don't start today, then how can they be the leaders of tomorrow? So I'd really like to thank Anusha, Roshni, Shumaisa, Wafika, and everybody else who worked behind from the VTU side. I'd like to thank Preksha, Palak, Yashashvi, Jaita, Sneha, and a whole lot of our other team members who are all young women, in colleges. They have a full-time college life, but yet they give so much of themselves every day to Aspire for Her. I'm so proud of them, and I'm so proud of this new VTU family that we have acquired today. Of course, last but not the least, thank you to all my wonderful mentors who took time out of their busy schedules to come and be a part of this session. That it's not only the people who are out there today who spoke, or who's been speaking for the last 2 days, but there are many others behind the scenes who have actually done fabulous work for us. I thank all of them, and this is really a momentous occasion. So I wish that our country, our society, all universities, definitely VTU and organizations like Aspire for Her continue to work together to actually create a new India. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.